I also like this park because you can choose to be efficient or you can be fun. And now we are taking the fun route. When I graduated as a carpenter, a friend of my parents gave me this picture, and it says that as a young boy I already knew that I will become a carpenter. You don't have to create everything yourself. There is so much stuff. Just have to pick those little details and combine them. Sometimes I imagine that all of this is already in the tree, but it's only covered by the bark. That's something that I like to happen, that you start to think about how this was made. How do you start something like this? On these two, I wanted to lose the time period when these pieces were created. By using this really old traditional treatment method, I thought that maybe this is the way to lose the sense of time. It's all connected, and it's also depending on other parts. Like if you take one part out, then it's kind of collapsing really. I think I might be just as inspired in a hardware store than in a forest. For me, it's kind of the same. Sometimes the hardware stores are even more interesting because it's stuff that is already made. This one was maybe first of all of my works that wasn't obvious on its function. It's also something that I kind of want to offer to people, to imagine themselves what it is, how it can be purposed. This table, I got it through my family. Actually, it's really pleasant to work with because it's a little bit lower than usual workbenches, so it's better for sculpting. It's really challenging for me to tell where I get those little details or those little moments. But I just know that I'm collecting those all the time, and then at some point they come together and become something else. I've been about to collect this, but then I should have a saw or something, and I don't know, I will leave it there.
I was also in the beginning of the project warned sometimes, like, watch out because you're touching like almost a holy topic. I don't talk about experiences within sauna because that's very personal to everyone. But what is the same everywhere is how it gets heated. We're here now at Sauna, which has been a main source of my discarded sauna stones that I used for the material development and the research. Most public saunas, they use large quantities of stones because they heat up saunas daily at rather high temperatures. So the stones get used and they get tired, so to say, and that's why they need to be replaced. This entire pile of stones are the discarded stones. We can't use them anymore structurally. I think this is like a good example. Like they just literally break. But then afterwards, through oxidation, they gain all these beautiful colors and textures that can be used again for different purposes in art, design. These are the discarded sauna stones that I've broken into chunks that are like a bit smaller than a fist, so they can be crushed afterwards. I developed the geopolymers, and I developed over more than 30 material samples to figure out recipes, the workability of the material, colors, surface textures. That then result into these little candle holders or incense holder. I think the idea behind those was more to bring back this ritual aspect. And then I designed a door handle. By touching the door handle and entering the sauna, you touch the history of this stone. And it's like the first thing you touch and feel before entering and exiting. Because I'm not from Finland, I look at sauna in a very different way than someone who grew up here. Maybe they never questioned what are these stones, where do they come from? When people are in sauna, the stones are always there. So it's almost as if the stones capture all these stories that are being told. And I think through the project I try to capture these stories and tell them again.
There used to be a big curly birch here. It's kind of like standing like this. I didn't have to cut it, so when it fell, it was kind of like fell in my lap, like you should use this wood. But that was the first time I saw the patterning and the figuration in a fallen tree. We're here now at Visavuori, the now museum, home and atelier of Emil Wikström. And I've had the privilege of spending my summers here at the summer cottage right next to the museum. It's changed. Trees have gone up and trees have gone down. There's many different types of curly birch. So the curliness is actually, it's a genetic mutation that happens inside the seed. The genetic mutation causes what I've kind of understood it to be as a stress that happens in the tree. It has to work harder to go up in the normal direction that trees would go. So often curly birches are quite low and they don't grow very wide, which means that the wood that you get from these trees is often quite limited in dimensions. Which in my pieces, I wanted to kind of work with the wood as it is in the tree. Actually, this side was cut with the bandsaw, so it's still quite rough. And then I started trying to plane to see if it was still usable, because it's so expensive. You try and find all the little pieces that could be used. I stumbled across the kind of science part of it, and in one paper there was X-ray images of the cell structure. And to me that really looked like it was weaving. People kind of learn things or think about things through these metaphors. And that's definitely how I work. I find a key metaphor, and then it just somehow allows me to access or find the next step. If this is woven, okay, great, then we can work with that. I remember going to the museum all the time after I decided to work with visakoivu. Seeing stuff from that time period was definitely a kind of inspiration. I guess I'm drawn quite often to collectives or movements. I mean, Emil was part of this group of people who were trying to make this Finnish identity. And in that case, there was kind of a certain material that they were trying to express similar ideas with, and they all did it in different ways. I can be kind of content with the pieces that I've made, that they're somehow part of that longer story, that there's like a heritage that I get to participate in. I like that it somehow visually doesn't fit the mold. And that it's so not the ideal tree, but it is somehow one of the most beautiful pieces of wood.
Mulla on liikaa tuommoista tässä, mistä pitäisi tehdä polttopuu, mutta mä näin kaikessa jotain mahdollisuutta. Jo ihan teellinen tää jo, varsin silloin kun lapset oli pieni, että ne tuli kotiin ja oli aina joku lähellä. Mä olin kyllä työssä ja tämähän on loistava. Mä viihdyn tässä. Minä teen kaiken näköistä ja mitään ei voi heittää pois. Suoraa puuta tai väärää puuta, kaikki mä käytän. Mä laitan siellä tää imuri päällä, kun mä oon siellä hiemokoneella. Ups. Oh. Tämä alkoi niin, mulla on aina ollut viestymys tehdä leluja ja 5 vuotta sitten aloitin ja mulla oli työnimi Puuko, siis niinku Lego, mutta puu. Ja mä kokeilin kaikki maailman systeemiä, mutta siitä tuli niin tylsä ja kömpelö ja huonompi kuin Legot. Kerta kaikki, mä häviän. Sitten mä tein vapaamuotoisia. Moi! Saa vielä jatkaa. Ja sitten mä ehdottiin Lauralle, kun tästä tarvitaan jo taiteellinen johtaja. Että sillä hän innostui kovastikin. Sitten ruvettiin tekemään tässä. Joo, ei voi olla 2. Minun mielestä ei voi olla. Ei voi olla varsin tytär ja isä, ei siitä. Kyllä hän taiteellinen johtaja, hän on pomo siitä, mutta tämä mekaniikka, se on mun vastuulla. Tämä on tosi kiva tehdä, kun mä en mieti mitä se lopuksi on. En mä ajatella, että tästä tulee siipi. Tämä voi olla korva tai jalka tai mitä vai. En mä yhtään mieti, mutta mä haluan kauniita muotoja. Ja Laura, kun on, hän jostain syystä, hän tekee aina elukoita. Ja mä vielä tulevaisuuden teen semmoisen, voi tehdä autojakin, mutta kyllä niitä on kiva tehdä, täytyy sanoa. Meillä on näitä satoja näitä osia tässä jo tehtyä. Mielellään tehdään lisää. Tämä on Lauran tekemä aikana joskus 20 vuotta sitten.
Laura has done the t-shirt, so in high school already.
Yes, it's Laura's design. Tästähän voi tulla tästä. Tästähän voi tulla vaikka mitä. Tämä on joskus Lauran aloittanut tässä ja nyt pitää tässä vähän parantaa. Ja kyllä nämä on, kyllä sitä ei voi osaa lopettaa kun näitä aloittaa. Se on niin palkitseva tämä tekeminen ja sen minun mielestä tämä on just yksi pointti ton kaikki aktiivituet ja mitä ihmisillä on. Kyllä se tekeminenkin pitäisi olla palkitseva myöskin. Kyllä se on mullekin avannut silmänsä. Tämä on niin kuin valtavan kaunista. Mun isä kun näki mun verstaasi, mä sanoin, mä luulen, että sä oot oppipoikana oppinut siivota verstaasta. Mä sanoin, eikö mun oppinut oppipojat siivoa. Sitä mä olen oppinut. Ei, tää tuntui niin turhalta tää siivominen tässä, kun mä vähän teen työtä sitten taas niin kuin ennen.